This podcast is hosted on podhome.fm, the most modern podcast hosting platform. Podhome offers unlimited episodes and podcasts, and unlimited use of Podhome AI, which generates transcripts, clips, chapters, title suggestions, show notes, and much more. And all of that for just $15.99 a month or $185 per year. That's a steal. So go to podhome.fm and start your 30-day trial now. And enjoy the show with Joe.
Transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas. It's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
All righty. Hey, folks, this is Joe Rooz, and it is great to be with you once again, transmitting live today from the Asylum. And, of course, doing the very best we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we could muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. All right. You know, everybody in the world says they've got a book in them, but almost nobody actually writes it. Well, tonight we're going to be talking with someone who didn't just write one. She built an entire business around storytelling. From fictional, historical fiction rooted in Finnish family history, that's a tongue twister, to cozy Nordic murder mysteries, author A.L. Jensen joins me to talk about execution, reinvention, publishing, and why comfort and homicide apparently make a perfect literary marriage. But as always, before we get into it, let's take care of some of the housekeeping stuff that we normally do. So, folks, if you would, please head over to our website, joerooz.com. That's joerooz.com. And when you get over there, look for that contact form, all right? It's hidden in that little pancake up in the upper right corner of your screen. Just open that thing up and fire us off a message. Let us know what you think. Any questions, comments, cares, or concerns that you might have. Maybe you have a complaint. I mean, you really shouldn't have any complaints whatsoever, but you might. You can send it to us there. Maybe you have a suggestion for a guest or a topic of discussion you'd like us to cover. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. But if you're anything like me, you don't like using web forms. Why? Because of the stupid CAPTCHA thing. I hate the CAPTCHA and the reCAPTCHA and whatever the other CAPTCHA they want to call it these days. You know, match the crosswalk and the bus and the... It's a pain. That's why we have an email address. You can always email directly at info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz.com. And you can send us over all that great feedback that we look forward to as well. Or if you'd like, if you're intrepid enough to do it, you can use the contact form right down there below on Rumble or on YouTube if you're still on YouTube for whatever reason. You can always do that there as well. And we would really, really appreciate hearing from you. Also want to quick remind you that this is a live show, weeknight, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We also have our Sunday show, our Sunday Bible study show, every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Central Time. So really, really good stuff. So you need to come by and check it all out. We've got some great guests during the week. A lot of fun on the Bible studies on Sunday. Plenty of things for us to talk about and to do. So come on over and pay us a visit. All right. Also, another very important thing is the algorithms. The algorithms are the key. Algorithms help us get found. And how can you tweak the algorithm? By remembering to like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, and your followers. Listen, a great tool, and I use it all the time. If you really want to upset somebody, piss them off, whatever, just send them a link to this show. Share it on their socials, because then everything that we do will keep showing up on their socials. It'll drive them crazy until either they block it or they actually come and check it out and see what it's all about. All right, so I did that to my sister all the time, and she blocked me for a couple of days, and then she, opens it up again. She's my sister, so I can mess with her that way. So, but try it out. It's a lot of fun. So remember, like, subscribe, share the show with your friends, your family, and your followers. All right, now tonight's connection is brought to you by Creative Edge. Creative Edge, publicity at its finest for all creatives. Your brand, your future. Check them out at creativeedge.services. That's creative-edge.services, and find out how they can help you meet your goals. All right. Well, with all of that fun stuff put aside, tonight we have A.L. Jensen. a Finnish-Canadian author, certified book coach, and podcast host who blends Nordic atmosphere, compelling storytelling, and a passion for helping other writers bring their ideas to life. She's the author of the new Hygge House. Am I saying it correct?
Hygge House.
Hygge House. Well, put in my notes here, spelled Hygge. So,
I know.
okay. I forgot how Scandinavian and Finnish language is so screwy.
That's right.
Hygge House, cozy mystery series beginning with Hygge and Homicide. Hygge and Homicide, a Scandinavian-inspired mystery that combines small-town charm, comfort, and just the right amount of murder. In addition to her fiction, AL works with aspiring writers through coaching retreats and her growing women writing community. Welcome to the show, AL.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joe. It's great to see you again.
It's been so long. How long has it been?
Yeah, I don't even know. A few months at least. Probably 2025 sometime.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I lose track.
Yeah, you do, and that's not a knock on you at all. But
life.
Yeah. 300 episodes into this show here. I'm starting to lose track of who's who.
Right? I know. It's hard to keep track, and they sort of blur. And I don't know. Do you find that the older you get, the more things like the years just blur? And I think, well, sometimes I'm like, well, that was pre-pandemic. That's kind of like or there's certain milestones. But often I'm like, I don't know. That was a long time ago. That's all I remember.
I hear you. My stock answer now is, you know what? As I'm getting older, my memory is becoming more and more like Swiss cheese.
Yes.
100%. Right now it's the Alpine lace style. But soon enough it's going to be the full on, the big gaping holes in it. So
that's right. That's what we have to look forward to. Great.
Yes,
Thanks.
Yes, so since the last time you've been here, tell us what's new. What's going on?
Well, so I have those first 2 books out, which has been really great. And I'm working on book 3 in the series. So that's been super fun. And they've been really well received. So I can't be happier about that. And then I did a thing. I decided I wanted to become an Asahi Nordic instructor. So I took a class and I got certified, and I think I'm the first Asahi Nordic instructor in Canada, which is kind of cool.
Wait.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell is that?
What is that? So it's a health and wellness program developed in Finland by some sports medicine folks. And it's been around for a long time, like 15 years at least. And I had no idea about it. And I heard about it maybe 2 years ago there was a conference in the States. And I couldn't get to that conference, but I had planned to go to this session. And I guess I ended up on an email list, as one does. And I heard, they're offering a class. So I thought, okay, I would like to do that. And of course, by the time the class was done, I had applied to be an instructor and did that class as well. But basically, it's slow movement, breath, and really great for young kids, but right up to seniors. And you can even do it while you're seated. So it's just kind of a really great movement that is excellent for your health and wellness and movement throughout your life. So it's been really fun. Something new. You got to try new things, right? You got to try new things.
Absolutely do. And it's and leave it to the Finnish or the Scandinavians to come up with a weird name for something.
Yeah, 100%. Right. We've got to trip people up with those pronunciations for sure.
Always. I don't know, but you worn a lot of hats. All right, teacher, author, coach, podcaster. What first pushed you toward writing professionally?
I wanted to be a writer since I was a little kid. I had one of those books that my mom gave me as a kid that you had your school picture and, who your friends were and the classes you took. Every year you'd write this down. And I had writer on that every year in my tiny little schoolgirl handwriting. So apparently it's something I wanted to do. I also had teacher on there and I was a teacher for 28 years. So writing was just always part of my life. And then eventually I needed to, there was a book that I needed to write with my dad. And I just thought, okay, this is the time. I've got to do it. Yeah. And so we did that and I was hooked. Like that's just been what I've been doing ever since. So I can thank my dad for that for sure.
So if you could pinpoint when the moment came that you realized that that writing was not a hobby for you anymore? This really became a real thing. So when was that?
I guess I can say May 15th, 2022. How is that for accurate?
That's
like
specific.
that's a date I remember.
Okay.
And I was on a walk with my husband and I said, and I've been talking about possibly leaving teaching for a while. And he said, I think it's time. I must've been complaining about something. He said, I think it's time. And I thought, yeah, I think it is too. And so I actually put in my retirement the next day. And I thought, okay, this is it. If I'm going to leave teaching, I have to take this seriously. And that's kind of the pivot I made. I immediately was like, okay, I need to like lean into this writing thing that I love so much. And of course I didn't know about book coaching at the moment, but like within about 6 months, I'd found that too. And it just sort of like unraveled from there. Like I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I needed to leave teaching, and I loved my job in lots of ways, but I was done in 2022. I could feel that I needed something new. So yeah, I mean, I can actually give a particular date for that. Surprisingly.
See, I can kind of relate to what you're saying. Like you know when the time has come.
Yeah,
that it's
you can
time to move
feel
on.
it in your body. Like there's just this, and then when you make a good decision, your body just goes, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
exactly. And I can share. Well, not fully share, but I could relate it to two specific things for me.
Yeah.
One was my original career back in New York, and when I realized that, you know what, I think it's time to put the uniform away before someone gets hurt, because what happened for me was, without getting into too much detail, was I just got tired of the whole process, and when that happens, then you have a tendency to not really, well. Let me put it this way. You tend to look the other way on a lot of things just because you don't want to get involved.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's not a good thing at all because someone's going to get hurt. It's either going to be you, the person you're working with, or the person that you're interacting with. So that's when I knew for me in that respect that it was time to really consider getting out of uniform and do something different. And I did, and I was very happy. Yeah. And then the second thing had to do with some of the changes that we've been making now with the show and some of the new direction that we're going in. Once we implemented those things, and I started to see it all come to fruition and how it started to fall into place, man, it was like a ton of bricks that lifted off my shoulders. And so far, so good. We're happy. So my point is I can relate to exactly what you're saying.
I think a lot of people just need to have that little bit of courage to make the change. Because I think we fear change, right? Like, what if it's worse than what it is now? But generally, no, it's not. It's like you reinvent yourself and it's so good. And you just feel better.
Or you're just looking at the logistics of it, and you're like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make this go to this and transition from this to that? And it wears on you, and it makes you tired physically, mentally. It just
absolutely
it really does. Yeah. Now, so to get back to what we were here for, instead of a counseling session, so. Looking back over your life, what does your life look like today compared to the one you imagined for it 20-something years ago?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think when I was in university, there was a decision to be made about, like, in that last year, about whether I should go to teacher's college or whether I should do a master's degree. And I was a little bit fearful, like talking about having a fear about change. Mm-hmm. And I ended up going to teacher's college because I felt like, oh, that's safer, that's smart, like, there's work. And so I didn't know what I envisioned for the rest of my life, but I did see myself as a teacher. And I did that for 28 years, and it was rewarding, and I did love it. I loved my students. Of course, I hated the politics of it, like, as everyone does, because, education's got its own issues and is so slow to change. So I was very frustrated with it in a lot of ways. But now my life is like, I get to make those decisions. Like, it falls on me. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. It still falls on me and I will own it. Right. So that's nice, because there's so many things about a working life that are out of your control. You're just working in the parameters somebody else has set for you. Yeah. So I've been finding this just amazing. And I have no desire to retire. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, that's
And
great.
that's something to be said, right? Because mostly when you're working, you're like, oh, well, how many more years? Like, how many more hours? I can't do this anymore. So when you find something you love, it just like the old adage says, it's not work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question about the bipolar side of this, because I mentioned it before the show, because I have to. And it's
Sure.
actually in my notes. Somebody starred it in my notes. So I need to, I guess I need to ask this particular question. So you, like I said earlier, you wear so many hats.
Yeah.
Why split your work between Liisa Kovola and A.L. Jensen?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think because Liisa Kovola, which is the name, my name, was associated with the kind of writing I was doing for years, like for a decade, historical fiction, literary fiction. And I really wanted to do something else. And I just thought, oh, somebody picking up a book, like picking up a cozy mystery will be like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for, right? It's just a completely different thing. So I thought, okay, I'm going to use a pen name because a lot of authors do that. I used a name that was mine. So my real first name is Annalisa. So that's the AL part. And my husband's last name is Jensen, and so are my children. So I thought, there's a name I can just use, and it feels like me, but it also feels like a little bit of freedom to try this other genre. And anyone picking up that book will know, okay, it's her, but also it's something different. So I know I'm getting my literary historical fiction here and I'm getting my cozy over here. And I felt like as a writer, it just allowed me to be this other kind of writer. Like it just gave me the freedom. I didn't worry about it. And I was worried about using Liisa Kovola for cozy mysteries. So I don't know if it was the right decision, but it's the decision I made, and go with it.
You got to roll with it.
You got to roll with it.
That's it. And I get it, because that's not my real last name. My last name is a variation of that, but that's a name that I was given when I was a kid, when I was playing baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my is a little bit different. It's just shorter. So it's easier
for
to
sure.
remember.
And I think that's it, though. A lot of people have these other names that are kind of the either the short form or the like a little bit of an alter ego, right? Like this is how people knew me as. So it just works.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
we'll see. Yeah.
Exactly, because this wasn't the cop.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This
Do you
was
feel like there was a bit of a freedom in
Oh, yeah.
using this name? Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Interesting.
Sure. I mean, also because think too, I've done other shows, other style of show. I've done Bible study podcasts and so on and so forth. And when I'm doing a show under this name, I have a little bit more freedom to kind of like let something slip every now and then.
Yes, it's okay, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Sure.
I'm not. In other words, I'm not pigeonholed into one specific style. I can move with it a little bit here.
Agreed.
So
and I feel like we're all that. Like even though we're one person, we're lots of things, right? We're like you say, we're lots of hats, and we, different parts of us come out in different ways depending on what we're doing. So it makes sense, I think.
It does. I agree with you. Now one of the other many hats that you wear is a book coach. So what exactly is a book coach?
Yeah. So I was, what was it? You were playing baseball? Is that your softball?
I played baseball, football, and hockey.
Okay. So you had some coaches in your life. Yep. I've been a rhythmic gymnastics coach since I was 16. And the coaches are there to do a lot of things, right? Keep you on track, make sure you're on time, teach you skills, give you a hard time when things aren't going so well, and lift you up when you need it. There's a lot of things a coach does, but coaching is similar, right? We're working often one-on-one with a client who's learning to write a book, or maybe starting something new, and there needs some support, and they're getting feedback along the way. And I just think it's an amazing, magical kind of relationship, because it's kind of bringing in my teacher part of me and my writer part of me and my coach part of me into one package to help a writer figure out how to write their book. And it's so much fun. and a lot of work, but also
I imagine.
yeah, I mean, but it's so great to see a writer have these breakthroughs and just be like these aha moments, right? Just like when you're working with an athlete and you see them practice and practice and they can't get it. And then one day they just do. And they're like, you can remember the faces beaming and just how excited you are when you get the skill. And so I think that the coaching role is just a really cool way to think about working with writers.
It's like a mentor
Yeah.
program.
For sure it is. Yeah. Yeah. Very much like a mentor.
Now, do you get only new writers, or do you also get some seasoned veteran writers?
Yeah. Yeah. I get a really big range. Sometimes they're writers who are new and they don't know where to go. They haven't, they're starting out. Sometimes they're writers who are they've been writing other things or maybe even published. But they have a new project and they need accountability. They need deadlines. They want feedback as they go. They want that support. And I'm the same. Sometimes I have a book coach that I hire, not full time, but here and there, depending on where I am in my project. And that just helps me keep on track and keep with my deadlines. So it can look different for, depending on the writer you're working with. And definitely established writers. I mean, anyone can benefit from a coach. I mean, you can't, even if you think of the highest level athletes at the Olympics, they absolutely have a coach, probably several, who are there to refine those skills and make sure they're at their peak. So I think we've often thought about writing as being a really solitary thing, but it doesn't need to be. And you can improve and get a manuscript out in a more solid way if you're working with somebody along the way.
Yeah, all right. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But do you think that, or do you see a problem with so many writers needing to have a book coach?
I don't think so, because if I think about what I did even as a teacher, so I had creative writing students and even kids who love to write. There's skills involved, right? We all think we can read and we all think we can write until we actually have to do it properly. And we're like, oh, I thought I knew how to tell a story. I don't know how to tell a story. I love a good story, but I don't know how to tell it. So we need those people. And whether you go to university or a college writing program, whether I went to University of Toronto, creative writing certificate program. And, there's webinars and classes and there's all kinds of things people can access. Of course, there's tons of great books on writing. I've done all of that. And it's important and you're going to learn something every time. But the best training I ever had was working with mentors, with book coaches who their whole job was looking at my work and giving me feedback on my stuff, not a whole classroom full of people where they read 5 of my pages and gave me some feedback. Helpful, but somebody who's going to read, 250, 300 pages of my work and give feedback along the way, that's going to strengthen my skills much more quickly than if I did it on my own. And it's not that you can't do it on your own. Of course you can. There's resources out there. So I think I think people need to figure out what they need for themselves and explore all the options.
Have you ever come across a situation where you're working with somebody and they're presenting their material to you and you're reading it and you're thinking to yourself, I got to tell this guy, this is not the genre for him?
Yeah.
Usually
it's not as much about genre. It's usually about craft. They just don't know what they don't know. And I'm okay with that because then I'm like, well, there's a reason I'm here. Right? So they might be writing in a genre that is maybe they're unfamiliar with. And then, that's where I'm getting some coaching in. I'm like, okay, let's figure out some books that you need to read. You need to think about how that person's developing the world or developing the characters, and just start to get them to read like their writers. So there's ways to approach that, but I mean, there's a bit of tough love because, you have to be able to tell somebody it's not, there's things to be done. There's things to work on without telling them it's terrible, right? You don't want to you want to protect them, but
how
you
often
also
do you get
have
that, though?
to help them get there, right? That's my job, is to help you get there. So
how often have you come across something you read and like, oh my God, no?
Oh, well, and to be honest with you, I always, I always have like potential clients. They send me pages before I meet with them for the first time. And then we meet and have a conversation, because you have to know that the person you're working with is a good fit. So like personality wise, energy wise, like that you're going to work. And I'll read somebody's pages, and sometimes I'm like, this isn't for me. Right? Like I can just tell. It's not even that it's terrible. It's just that it's not the kind of book I want to work on. And so I'm not the right coach. And I will tell that person that, okay, this project's not for me, but I'm going to suggest people that I think might be better coaches for whether it's that genre or whatever it is. So it's not like I take every client. I kind of do a little bit of a vetting process. And I don't think everyone who looks for a book coach should take the first coach either. They should talk to a bunch of people and see what the best fit is and what their services are. And is this going to be the right relationship? Because often it becomes a very long-term relationship with that person, because the book writing takes a long time. So you want to like the person and trust them.
Very true. So what mistakes do you think aspiring authors make over and over again?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. I shouldn't say that. That sounds terrible. I think
it's
like
honest. It's not terrible. It's honest.
That's just honest. I think there's a couple of things. So not that, I don't know if you know about pantsing and plotting. So pantsers are the people who just start writing and see where it lands. And lots of people love to do that and they swear by it. Great. And some people love to plot, like really detailed plots, and then they'll write that book and they stick to it. And then there's a lot of us that are kind of in between. We need a plot, but we'll let our, like, as we're writing, things might change and adapt. And so that's kind of I think to me is a bit of a sweet spot. And I think beginner writers don't know where they fall. Like they don't know if they're pantsers. They don't know if they're plotters. They don't really know even how to plot a book, even if they wanted to. So it's kind of figuring out like, okay, what kind of writer are you? What do we need to lean into? Let's try some different things here, figure out what the groove is, figure out how to get the words on the page. And then once you have those words down, we can work with those pages, right? But it's getting that initial draft down, that can be really hard, especially if it's a very first book.
Yeah. Now, to me, it kind of sounds like, you're trying to, not you specifically, but just coaching and mentoring in itself is kind of trying to teach someone how to be a good writer or a great writer. Yeah. And then there are some people that think that, well, it's either you have it or you don't. Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, well, I'm a teacher at heart. So I think you can I think you can learn anything. Like I could be a brain surgeon. It would take me a long time because I would need a lot of coaching and support and mentoring. Years.
I wouldn't be a good one, but I could be one.
Yeah. Maybe not good. You might not want me as your surgeon. But I do think people can learn things, right? If you're open and you're willing to learn. And there are people who aren't, right? That they're like, my writing is good enough. I told the story I want to tell. I don't care about readers. I don't care about the marketplace. I don't care about any of that. Okay. Like I can't help that person. But if they're open and willing, you can learn craft and you will get better. I mean, you can look at really famous writers and look at their first books and they're okay. And you look at their later books and they're amazing. Well, it's because they've spent decades on their craft, right? Like they just proved. So yeah, I do think people can learn, but it's, and I'm sure there are people who are very natural in some ways to begin with, right? But again, there's so many aspects to writing that they don't necessarily know, even though the writing sounds beautiful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's natural talent. That's obvious. It comes through. And then there are some that they have a talent, but they definitely need that little extra push, and the guidance and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
I was thinking about actually signing up. There's something, I think it's called Podcast Academy or something like that, where you could sign up and get a mentor. I was thinking about doing that. Just want to see what I could
100%.
Pick, because I could do things better. I know that.
Yeah. And just having somebody who's impartial that's coming to and listening to you and sorting out any issues you have, it's a game changer when somebody can speak to you individually about those things. It's different when you're taking a webinar and there's like lots of other people in the room, you're going to pick up things and you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's interesting. You'll take your notes. But when somebody's talking about you and what you can do and what your strengths are and what you can improve,
Right.
boy, you'll take that you'll take that on board in a much more visceral way.
Well, of course, because it's more personal, it's more directed towards you. So it's going to hit you right where it needs to hit you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
That's like, I've gotten that recently with some of the things I mentioned to you before the show. You know, so I spoke to some people directly, you know, not in like a mentor program, but just saying, hey, look, you've been doing this for a long time. What do you think?
Yeah.
And, you know, I went to 3 people and they all finished everything with the same exact word, which I will tell you later.
Okay. Cliffhanger.
Yes. I'll tell you after the show.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if I remember, because, you know, Swiss cheese. So,
right. There.
But I'll remember. So what do you think separates writers from, you know, writers who finish books from those that just talk about doing it someday?
Yeah. So I don't know. There's some stats out there. I don't know. Does maybe 99% of people have a book in them and want to write it? And then there's like, you know, that 1% who actually try. And then there's a small percentage below that actually finish. So that like finishing books is a really big deal. So anyone who's finished a book, you've already won the lottery, right? Like whether you ever sell a copy, that is such a huge accomplishment. And so I always talk about sisu, which is a Finnish word for strength, courage, determination.
I remember that.
And you just keep going, right? And I don't know that writers always want to hear that. Like, just do it, Nike. But I think there's something to be said for, you know, sitting down and doing the work. Like even on the days where you don't want to, even on the days when you're not feeling it, where you don't feel, you know, quote unquote, inspired. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to just dig deep and decide that this is important to you and work forward. But it's very easy for writers to be like, overwhelmed or feel like they're not good enough or they have doubts or whatever. There's so many reasons for them to, you know, move away from that manuscript. But I think, you know, that's where book coaching does help, or having a friend who's a writer or having somebody in your corner or writing group. They keep you going, right? They remind you like, okay, come on, we can do this. Just keep chipping away.
Right. I agree with you. I think that's very important. Now let's shift a little bit into what you're doing as A.L. Jensen.
Yes.
So what drew you to cozy mysteries after writing historical fiction?
Yeah.
What was that transition?
So I went to a writing retreat, and I was thinking I really would like to shift away from, not to leave historical literature, but just to take a break and try something else. And I'm just the kind of person who likes to try new things. I'm just that like, oh, let's see how this goes. Can I do that? And I like to give myself little challenges. And the idea while I was at this retreat was, oh, I'm going to write a romance series. That was in my head. And I thought, well, yeah, but I don't really read them. So that's probably not a great idea. And I realized, actually, I love cozy mysteries. I've always loved them. I've been watching those shows since I was a kid, and the British cozy mysteries, and reading Agatha Christie and all of that. And I'm like, no, I have an idea. And it sort of just downloaded on my drive home from this retreat. The whole idea of the cozy mystery series just came to me, which never happens for historical mystery or for historical literature. I'm always like, that's years and years of research. And I was just hooked immediately. By the time I got home, I'd already chosen my name. I'd chosen the name of the book series. Like, it never happens. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going with it. I need to just pursue this because it's so fun. And I think I just needed something gentler, something softer, sweeter, you know, lighthearted, whereas the historical literature tends to be a little darker, more about loss and more about, you know, some difficult, often said in the, you know, World War II or something like that, where, you know, and I love to write that and I love to research it, but right now I just needed something little lighter, I guess.
Okay. So Nordic cozy mystery, that's pretty specific.
Yeah, it's specific because Finland is a Nordic country, as are, you know, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Iceland. And I originally was thinking Scandinavian, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm Finnish-Canadian. So Scandinavian is, it excludes Finland if you're going to be picky about it. So some people are very picky about it. So I'm like, okay, Nordic cozy mystery. But you know, some people will be familiar with the term Nordic noir, which is like mysteries set in often like one of those Nordic countries, often like in the depths of winter, very dark, often gruesome, terrible murders. Like, I love those shows. I love those books. So good. And I thought, well, why can't we have Nordic cozy mysteries then? If we have Nordic noir, we can have cozies too. So I thought, okay, I love my Finnish heritage. I love learning about the Nordic countries. Let's just lean into this. And, you know, and I hadn't seen anything out there like that. There might be. I would love to know if other writers are doing sort of a Nordic cozy idea. So, you know, send me those titles because I will read them. But yeah, so it's just, you know, kind of a little chip of what I am and infusing it into these books.
Okay. Maybe you said it and maybe I just missed it, but
yeah.
What makes a Nordic cozy mystery different from a standard cozy mystery?
Yeah. So the cozy mystery, I think people are really, you know, familiar with the small town quirky characters. You know, often like there's a main street with lots of little independent shops and, you know, cafes and, you know, there's just a vibe. And so I thought, okay, yeah. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do Nordic in the sense that I'm bringing, like, she's Finnish Norwegian of descent, so she's a Canadian actually, but so, like myself, and she's a Scandinavian or Nordic designer by trade, so interior designer. So she's infusing this new place that they have purchased as an event center with this hygge idea, right? This Nordic concept of comfort and relaxation and all the things. So I'm like, okay, I can like bring in different traditions. I can bring in culture. I can bring in different kinds of food. I can bring in different kinds of concepts about living and life to this small community through this character and her mother and her daughter. And so I thought that, like, not that everyone in the community is Nordic. They're not. There's people of, like, it's a diverse community. But for the main character, this is her wheelhouse, right? This is where she works, and this is what the aesthetic she likes. And so it's just super fun to throw things in there.
Was there anything that really like inspired you to write it this way, or where did the idea for this come from?
Yeah. Well, I think a couple things. One was, so I live in Sudbury, Ontario, and it's a northern town, maybe 3.5, 4 hours north of Toronto. So listeners might know Toronto. So I'm, you know, kind of north, and I live in a community that has so many Finnish people, like so many that when I was a little kid, I didn't know that other people didn't speak Finnish. Like, I just thought they all did until I went to school, and I'm like, there's Italians here, and there's, you know, like Polish people and like everybody. But like when I was a kid, there was a really strong Finnish community here. So it's not that unusual in certain parts of the country to have smaller communities where people congregated and built lives and had their church and had their hall and had their, you know, all these different places for the community to be involved. And so it was certainly a big part of my life when I was a kid. Now those Finnish people are older, their kids have moved around, so there's not as many Finns here as there used to be. But when I was writing this, I thought, you know, like, I can definitely infuse this with things I understood growing up, right? That when you live in a community, it's not necessarily one thing. Like, it's a lot of things, and you can bring in your culture to it. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It's not a bad inspirational idea either. I like that. That's good.
Okay.
So
good.
So why not that my opinion matters, but, you know,
it really does, Joe. I feel great about that.
Okay, yeah, you made me feel better. Okay, so now we'll actually not mute your microphone anymore.
Okay.
Right. So no, seriously though. So why do you think readers are so hungry right now for stories centered on comfort, community, murder? And it's a strange combination.
Yeah, right.
It works.
So. Right. I do think we are at a moment in history where there's a lot. It's a lot. Every day is a lot. Get it going on the news, listen to the radio. There's a lot happening that we cannot control. And, we can have some influence in little pockets and various things, but there's a lot happening that we just are absorbing, and it's hard. And so I think that we need to find inspiration and relaxation and diversion through literature and art and nature. And just finding it, like writing, just finding a way to just, bring the temperature down, be calm, be collected in a world that sometimes feels so chaotic. And I think we all need that. And I mean, we do watch I watch dark things too. And sometimes you watch like the apocalyptic stuff too, because you're like, I need to watch the world just blow up. So we kind of like the extremes, I think, in some way. But that's
you just reminded me of something.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did, yeah. That's why I'm turning red, because I just thought of something. And along those lines, we just want to watch the world blow up sometimes, right? So I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago. I think it was last Saturday, and the question was, "So what are you doing?" I'm watching a movie, and I was very deadpan when I said it. And they were like, "Oh, what are you watching?" And I named the movie, and they were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes." I said, because sometimes you just need to watch people get chopped into little pieces.
That's right. Right? It just makes your life feel so much easier.
Well, my follow-up was, because it's either I watch it get done or I do it to myself.
Right. It's much better to watch it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But that's been my mood lately.
Yes. Right. Yeah. And we need those outlets. We need to see that, like, something else that just brings us out of our everyday life. So totally makes sense.
I think the funnier part of that story is that the next day, my friend came by, and I was pulling some stuff out of the closet, so they were helping me pull the stuff out of the closet. And now keep in mind what I just said the night before. When I pulled the stuff out of the closet, a hatchet fell out of a box that I had. So it just kind of cemented the fact that, are you really thinking about
Wait
this?
a minute.
Yes. I just grabbed it. I had a Monty Python moment. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see. Amazing. As one does. Have a hatchet in your closet. Where else are you going to store it? You don't want it on the countertop.
No, I can't leave it outside, because then somebody will take it, or it'll get rusty, and then I got to clean it. And
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Give my next victim an infection on top of everything else. No,
exactly. See, that's what happens.
You got to think about the other person and the whole thing.
That's right.
So I'm kidding, folks. Okay, relax. It's a joke.
Absolutely.
If they haven't figured me out yet by now, they're hopeless. I don't know.
They got it. They get it. Smart listeners.
Right. So what can readers expect from the rest of the Hygge House series? Did I say it right?
Yeah, you did. Hygge. And the name is so wild because it's Hygge, which is like nobody can pronounce. And so in the first book, I mentioned that that they had named this place Hygge House, and everyone's like, it's what now? Yep, that's what it is. So we have to teach everyone that word. So I feel like I have book 3 underway. It's coming out in August, and I'm planning 3 more. It'll be fun to see how the main character transforms, not only over each book, but over the series, and how, she's a midlife person her life has changed. She's, starting afresh as many midlife. We talked about that right at the beginning, that we both made changes in our life. And a lot of people do at that stage in life where they're just like, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something else. And that's what she's done. And so, seeing her transform over these series of books is going to be really fun. For me, I hope for readers too. I hope they enjoy it and enjoy the world that we created here. And we'll see.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure they will.
I hope so.
So the last time we were together, we didn't really touch on a couple of things, and I wanted to kind of go back and to mention these things to you. One of the things is that you're a podcaster also, and how has hosting a podcast changed the way you think about your storytelling?
Ooh, that's a great question, Joe. How has it changed my storytelling? I'm not sure that it has exactly, but definitely like I'm actually a real introverted person. I always have been. And hosting a podcast means that I have to step outside of that introversion and really listen and really, have those conversations.
Right.
And that's how I like to, like, as I can tell you do too, having a conversation with somebody instead of like just straight up question answers, right? Because you have the most genuine connections when you do that. So I really have enjoyed having the conversations on the podcast with all my guests. So maybe it's changed a little bit how comfortable I am with those, conversations and being outward facing as an author, because authors tend to be, not always, but a lot of authors are actually introverted and maybe struggle with public events and that kind of thing. So that's taken me some time to get there. And certainly the podcast has helped me. But like in terms of writing, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a great question though.
Which is unusual because statistically, podcasters also are much more introverted.
Are they?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because it's easier to interact with people from behind a microphone. If you're only doing an audio show, and it's also easier to talk to a camera than it is to talk to somebody, face to face.
I did not know that stat. Oh, that makes so much sense.
I forget the exact number, but I can find it. I'll get it to you sometime. But
amazing.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that writers tend to be a little introverted. Podcasters also tend. So you're getting it from both ends. Okay,
so my introversion is out on display, and here is how I'm handling it. I'm writing and I'm podcasting. Fair. I will take it.
So, okay, here's a silly question about podcasting. So, do you have a different voice on your podcast than you do when you're actually out interacting with people?
Oh, yes, I think so. I think that when I'm on the podcast, I'm conscious of not, trying not to use as many filler words, even though I use them. I think it's more my teacher voice that I'm using in a way, that sort of that outward facing voice. Whereas if I'm just hanging out with friends or my husband or my kids, it's a little probably quieter and less self-assured, although I feel like I'm not self-assured with this answer. So I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
That's okay. I was just thinking, I don't know why it crossed my mind. It's not anywhere in my notes. It just crossed my mind because I catch myself when I go through a drive-through. That's when I catch myself. I put podcast voice on. Hey, folks, how you doing? I like a number 1, please.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And then sometimes I'll catch myself at work sometimes if I'm on a phone call with somebody, all of a sudden podcast voice comes on. It's just a very, I don't know why I thought of it. It just did.
No, but I feel like it's a true story because like, even as a teacher, however I was feeling that day, whatever was going on, when I walked into the classroom, I was the teacher. Like I was there for them. I was, you just kind of like whatever your emotional state is, you try to like leave that at the door.
Sure.
So there's something about every job where you come being part that role, right? You bring that forward. So yeah, it makes sense that, your podcast voice would come out when you're ordering fries.
Hey folks, let me get a number 1, please.
That's right. Amazing. And they're like, yes, sir.
Deluxe, please.
Awesome.
Oh my God. I'm tired. So one more question for you.
Sure.
Actually 3 more questions for you. So what do women writers today need most today more than the publishing world offers them?
What do they need more? I think something that they are taking, which is a voice. I think for a very long time, women's voices were not were underrepresented. And that, it's been taking decades to get there. And women's stories, which sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, but sometimes can be quite domestic, right? The everyday lives of women in a household, in a marriage, raising children, were not so exciting stories. And now we have much more of that because we have 50% of the population who is like, oh, I can relate to that. I know what that struggle is. I know how that feels. I know what I know that inner turmoil or whatever it is. So, not to say that all women write just stories about home, like they're writing sci-fi and thrillers and all the things too. But yeah, I think it's the voice is coming out, and I think women are more represented now than they were before, but it's still a struggle, right? Because we have lots of underrepresented communities who, are striving to be heard too, and so it's a kind of a difficult thing, but all we can do is keep writing and finding audiences, and as with all writers, telling your truth, and you're going to find readers who connect.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so. Who's someone that you respect right now, and what are they doing that inspires you?
Oh, goodness. That is such a good question that I'm totally unprepared for, Joe.
I'm going to call BS because I asked you the same question the last time we were on the show.
I know, and I forgot. This is how long it's been. Coming back to our earlier discussion, it's been that long. I'm going to say that I'm going to be talk about somebody who's nobody that your listeners won't know this person, but we have somebody that I work with here in town. We have a festival called Woodstock Literary Festival. And a year ago we had a vote and it was going to be disbanded, and it had been around for 12, 13 years. Wow. And this person stepped up, and we all we actually voted no against this decision to close this festival. And she stepped up and has done so much work. I'm on the board now. There's fellow writers on the board now, but she's leading the way. And what I admire about her is, she saw that need. She saw that there was a problem in the community, that we didn't want to let go of this thing that was important to people. And instead of being like, oh, that's too much work, it's too hard, she's like, no, I'm going to do it. And that's what I admire, because I think we all have communities where there's issues of whatever nature, and it takes somebody to just lead the way, and everyone goes, yeah, I'm in, I can help. Yeah. Tell me what I need to do. But you need that kind of person to, move forward. So yeah, I could shout out to Dinah LaPrairie in Sudbury.
Nice. All right. She's a good catalyst.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Outstanding. You should give her an award. Give her a Catalyst Award.
I think so. I might just make that myself, print it on the printer, and be like, Dinah, you deserve an award today.
There you go. Perfect. Have a special award ceremony for the next meeting, and just present it with this little handmade card you made for her.
I love it. I love it. That's just brilliant.
All right. So where can folks go to find out more about you and about what you're up to?
Yeah, they can show up at Substack, Women Writing on Substack, and they can also check out lisabookcoach.com. And I am Lisa with 2 eyes. So you should be able to find me pretty easily.
My spell checker kept on changing that.
I know.
It drives me crazy.
I send emails once in a while with the spell checked Louisa. So if you ever get an email from Louisa, it's me.
Yet another level to the personalities. Okay,
that's right. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just going for all the personalities.
You should save that and use that for another pen name for another type of.
That's right. Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
That would be like a cookbook series, I think.
That's right. I love that.
I think it's a good cookbook name.
That is a good cookbook name. Now you're giving me ideas.
That's what we're here for. All right. A.L. Jensen, Liisa Kovola, thank you so much for being with us today. I really do appreciate it. It was great to catch up with you again. It's been a while. And really excited for all the stuff that you're working on. So
thanks, Joe. God bless you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I always enjoy our chats.
Thanks. That's nice. You made me turn red. All right. I'm going to put you backstage, and I'll be with you in about 2 minutes. All right?
Okay, perfect.
All right. See you in a bit. All right, folks. A.L. Jensen, Liisa Kovola, for the rest of you. Great conversation. Love it. Fantastic. This is one of those return guests that you really look forward to having on the show, because you just had a great conversation the first time. You know the second one's going to be even better, and we'll see what the third one brings when that comes around. So I'm really excited about that. All right, folks, so some shout-outs, of course, to our executive producers, without whom we could not have done any of the stuff that we're doing. Executive producer Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and, of course, the inestimable Anonymous Angela. Thank you, guys. These guys do fantastic work. They donate their time, their talent, their treasure to help us put these shows together and to get the guests that we have and to do all the great things that we've been doing and working on and behind-the-scenes stuff and all this great stuff. Couldn't do it without their help. So if you'd like to find out more about how you could help us out on the show, very simple. Just head over to our website, joerooz.com/support, joerooz.com/support, and you can find out all the different ways that you can help us out, whether it's a one-time donation, a recurring donation, signing up as a producer of the show, however you want to go about doing it. It's your time, your talent, and your treasure, the 3 T's we call it. And however you can do it, we would gladly receive it. So we do appreciate that. All right. How about some final thoughts here? Let me close the banner first. That'd be helpful. Thought I did that. All right. So some final thoughts. Let's see. Great conversation tonight. I guess the takeaway is this: is everybody has ideas. A book idea, a business idea, a someday plan, a dream. And, they all swear that they can get to it when life slows down just a little bit. But ideas by themselves, really, honestly, without execution, are worthless. Tonight, A.L. Jensen, Liisa Kovola remind us that consistency, discipline, and the willingness to start imperfectly are what separate creators from spectators. So whether you write novels or you build something entirely different, the lesson here is the same. Someday is not a strategy. All right. And with that said, folks, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Don't forget to head over to our website, joerooz.com. That's joerooz.com. Open up that contact form. Send us a message. Let us know what you're thinking. Email us info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz.com. And again, thanks to our guest and thank you for being here with us. Folks, make Texas independent again. Go podcasting. Keep a steady stride. More important, let's keep talking. Good night, folks. See you next time.